Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for tuning in. June the 18th, 2022. We are live here at Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, which is hosted by Mike Overson of Illuminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering of the We Team, and the Minnesota Real Estate Team with RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. I hope your weekend is starting out well. Wherever you might be catching us on social media, we always welcome your comments. We always go live on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You ever have comments, questions, thoughts, please don't hesitate to share those with us. We've got a great show today, a lot going on in the market today, and we just really welcome your questions again from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can also call us 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949, call or text. Scott, Mike, good morning, guys.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, it is going to be an interesting show. We're going to talk about interest rates. That's kind of the hot topic. Obviously, they're going in the wrong direction, and also just a change in the market. If you have your home listed right now, or you've had it listed in the last couple of weeks, maybe tell us what your activity is like. We're definitely seeing kind of a shift in the market, a little bit longer time on market, price reductions, things like that. So we're going to talk about what that means and what it can mean going into the late summer, fall here.
Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans. Always great having you on there, friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ryan. Always fun to be here.
It's been a crazy week for you, I'm sure, with the interest rates, like a historic rise in rates.
It was, it's almost like COVID, but the opposite came. Because when COVID first got here, none of the financial markets knew what was going to go on, and it was up and it was down, and it was up and it was down. But the general trend rates were this way, right? So it was kind of like here, but now it's the other way. A lot of inflation talk, and a lot of the markets don't know how to react. And so then you get the ups and the downs, but more of a upward versus downward. So
yeah, it's going to be, it'll be a fun discussion today. First segment, we normally do a market update, again, real estate and mortgage, but just a lot to talk about with sharing some of the stats here locally from a home construction standpoint, a builder standpoint, for buyers, sellers. If you're just an existing homeowner curious about what's going on, it's a unique time, Scott.
It is. It seems like it's always been unique. It's
like every week,
every. We had the crash back in 06 through about 10, 11, and that had its own issues, and now we've had this where you can't keep anything. You can't keep anything on the market because you got 95 showings and 40 offers, and now all of a sudden we've got interest rates going up and a slowdown in the market. So it's always interesting.
Yeah, and I'll be sharing too just a little message for any fellow agents that might be listening too. I've had a lot of questions. Hey, what do you guys think, Ryan? What's going to happen? Business wise, activity wise. So we'll be sharing some thoughts on that front too. Just to kind of talk about, to your point, Scott, what we've experienced over the years, the good,
Yeah.
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's right.
Mike's come up for air.
Yeah. It's actually kind of nice.
Right?
I can actually sleep about 6 hours a night, instead of working.
Here we go. We're going live on air. We're on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 every Saturday, 10 to 11. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and thank you for tuning in. It is June the 18th, 2022, live here at Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Scott Wolmering of the We Team and the Minnesota Real Estate Team with RE/MAX Advantage Plus, Mike Overson of Illuminate Home Loans, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Thank you for joining us, whether you're catching us on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, or anywhere on social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We always like going live as well. And today, a lot to talk about with the show, guys. Good morning, Scott, Mike. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, good to be here. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is an interactive show. We love your comments. You can text us at 612-294-6949 or call and go live on air. Obviously, if you're following us on any of the social media, you can just type your questions in and we'll handle it. Before we get into the show, got to give a congratulations to my friend Ryan O'Neill. It came out that the Minnesota real estate team is the #1 mid-sized company in Minnesota to work at. And that is kudos to you, my good friend.
Well, thank you. It's a group effort, team effort all the way around. It was a very nice surprise, but just a great group of people, great culture, great, just a very supportive group. We've had a lot of fun over the years, Scott, and it was surprising. Yeah, it was just surprising to see, but Star Tribune, our friends at the Star Tribune did a little poll, and pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was very cool. And I don't know if people have followed the show, but you probably are thinking, Scott's the We team and Ryan's Minnesota real estate team. But beginning of last year, I moved my team under Ryan's team. And so I've been able to watch it firsthand, and you have created an incredible culture, training anything an agent could possibly want. So again, if you're an agent and you're out there and you're struggling, I would definitely reach out to Ryan because I've seen it firsthand. If you're an agent, you have every tool possible to your exposure, and it would be a very good move to join up.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Very kind of you, Mike. Always a pleasure, there, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's voted on by the actual employees, if you will. I mean,
Right.
your agents are employees, if you will, but it's voted by the people that work at those companies.
Right.
So it's not like an outsider looking in and saying, "Oh, that looks like a nice company to work for. We'll put them #1." It's the people working there.
Yeah, that's what makes it so cool. I think of it as kind of the super real estate agent, which is an award that comes out every year, and that's my favorite award because it is voted on by your clients,
Sure.
and by other real estate agents and by title companies and so on that basically nominate you and then vote for you. And so, and that's the way I look at this. I mean, you had to have employees or agents in this case that actually took the time to nominate it, fill out surveys, however it worked, to be able to get the nomination and to be the number one place to work. So very cool.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Great group, a wonderful group of folks. And again, we're happy you're here with us every Saturday from 10 to 11. We're going to share thoughts about the market, stats, comments, and interest rate wise, we got to dive in, Mike, because this was an absolute historic week. A lot of people feel like the sky is falling. Is the sky falling?
Last time I checked, no, the sky's not falling. Unfortunately, interest rates are not falling either.
No.
They're going the other way. But it's, we're going back to a normal, if you will. And I think you guys see it on the real estate side of things too. If you compare any point in time in mortgages or real estate to 2020 and 2021, there's nothing that compares to it because it's only happened once. So interest rates, of the high 2s and low 3s, it was great. A lot of people took advantage of it, refinanced and bought during those times. You got a rate that we've never seen in our lifetime before. And we're probably never going to see it, in our careers here. Maybe we see it before we die, but we'll be retired before we ever see something like that again. So, we're sitting at low 6s right now, 6.125-ish for a 30-year fix. That's on a standard conventional loan, obviously dependent upon credit score and such. Jumbo loans, I know we spoke about this last week a little bit, but one of the ways you can win in this type of market is jumbo loan interest rates are almost a full % less.
That's crazy.
I literally priced out a conventional loan and a jumbo loan for a client yesterday, and their conventional rate was 6.125 with no points, and their jumbo rate was 5.25.
Huh.
So,
Mike, what was the interest rate at the start of the year?
Start of the year, probably 3.25 is what I would say, right that first week of January.
And has there ever been a historical time where it's gone up 3 points in a year? Quickly?
Not this quick. Not that I know. I mean, I've been 17 years and I've never seen it go up this quickly. Fun fact, the highest interest rate I've ever locked is 6.75, and that was back in 2006.
Huh.
So, I got in the business. That's where rates were at. Rates were in the high 5s to 6, and then they drifted up 6.75. Then they've been between 6.75 and basically 2.75 for my entire, mortgage career. And we're getting back to that, normal, if you will. I think 5.5, 6 is normalish.
Yeah, I think what makes this so concerning for everybody, moving out of 2 to 3% interest rates, of course, there's just going to be a shock because that was a 2-year norm. And then when you throw on top of it the unrest, the inflationary cost, the cost of gasoline, and the increase in home prices over the last 2 years. So you've had this massive increase of home prices, home costs. And then all of a sudden you got inflation, you got interest rates rising. So all of it, together just is, I think, making people nervous.
Yeah, well, and two, I was reading a fact this week. Again, I know I've shared over the years, I like on Twitter, I just like following some of the different trending topics. And this week, obviously the stock market was trending. And so just reading a couple articles, they were talking about everyone with 401ks. The vast majority of 401ks are invested in stocks, just like the straight stock market. So with the stock market down 25% for the year, people that are looking to retire right now, that is a huge problem. I mean, that's not only gas prices, food, everything else. People that you think they've worked very hard their whole career, they've saved money, they've put money into a 401k, and now they're like, hey, where is my 401k is down 25%. So it's causing a lot of unease, guys. Remember back in the market, I mean, it was just probably our highest listenership of the show was back in the short sale bank loan days.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just people were unsure what's happening.
Well, everybody was affected by it. You had a house that was worth $500,000, and then in literally 90 days, I mean, it was the end of 05 into the beginning of 06. Where everything had crashed and we had gone from 18,000 homes to 35,000. And, I've told this story before, but I sold 13 homes in a development called South Passage out in Lakeville, and they were between 800 to $1.5 million. And there was not one resale during that crash within $400,000 of original sale price. And so, of course, people were listening because people were freaking out.
What do we do?
Yeah.
Right. Mike, before the break, do you think rates will keep rising for people? I mean, do you think they're going to keep going up?
Yeah, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I do think it's going to get better, and here's why. So when we look at our pricing right now, there's a lot of loan products out there that don't even have a par rate. So a par rate would be a rate that you can get without paying discount points. There's a lot of pricing coming out right now where you have to pay a certain amount of discount points. There is no par rate to pay. So what does that mean? That means all the investors and all the stuff on the back end, they're thinking that the loans that are made today are going to be shorter term loans. So they're guaranteeing themselves a certain rate of return by charging points up front, because we're going to get money up front from you in the form of a discount point, and we're going to have this interest rate. They're all thinking that in 12 to 24 months, we're going to have rates that go down back into, I think they're going to be back down into the 4s. And all these loans that are getting done during this time are going to be refinanced within 12 to 24 months. So that's short term, that's short term as far as mortgages go. And so they're like, okay, well, why would we make a short term loan on this? Because really you don't even make any money until payment number 7 comes through the door. So it's like, okay, well, the only way that we can guarantee ourselves a certain rate of return by putting our money out there is to have these discount points charged up front. So I think it's going to get better worse before it gets better. But I do think it's going to get better, and I think it's not going to be too far down the road.
Do you guys think, before the break, just a short answer, and then we'll talk about it. Do you think, Scott, we're in a recession?
Oh, I was just going to say that. I'm glad you brought it up. Of course, we're in a recession. No one's naming it. They're just not calling it a recession right now. But of course, we're in a recession. Gas is through the roof. Wages are down. Food is through the roof. I mean, what else do you need? That's a recession.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at the beginning of it. It's like, again, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but
we'll talk more after the break here too, and we promise we'll bring something positive here before the end of the show. But just bringing you some real world knowledge here as well from living and breathing the Minnesota real estate market 7 days a week. That's what we do here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and you're welcome to join us. 612-294-6949 anytime throughout the show. 612-294-6949. Thanks for joining us on social media. A lot going on. Feel free to share your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think we're in a recession? Do you think it's going to get better? Do you think it's going to get worse? How is it impacting you? Don't hesitate to share any of your thoughts, what you're seeing, kind of feeling. But Scott, your point, and Mike, he kind of hit it on the head. I mean, I think nobody wants to say recession, but my gosh, it's hitting people a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, what else?
What else is it?
What else has to what else has to happen for it to be a recession? For it to be a recession, I mean, it is definitely a recession.
So the big question is, and we'll talk a little bit more after the break, is what happens to housing? What happens to housing prices? I was going to share that lumber costs are down 47% year to date. That's interesting because of the demand. So they said nationally lumber prices fell. They fell 12% for the week, and they're down 47%. It's a 65% year over year decline, with builders slowing down. What do you think, guys?
Well, and you would think that that would have the builders reduce the price of building a house, but that hasn't happened either.
No.
It's like I can't remember the gas company, one of the big gas companies. They were 2.7 billion last year is what their profit was.
Yeah.
And this year it's 5.5 billion.
Mm.
So it's like you could reduce the cost of gas. They're taking advantage of a market, and builders are still doing that. They're hanging on to pricing that was caused by the fact that everything costs more to build a house.
Sure.
Well, now that's gone away, but the pricing is still there. And what they're finding is that now all of a sudden you got interest rates going from 3% to 6.25% or 6 1/8 or whatever, and now all of a sudden people aren't beating their door down to build, and I'm starting to see, tons of, hey, Scott, bring your people back, and where these same builders weren't paying it basically any commission when everything was great.
Right.
And seeing a trend that way. Also seeing 2 and 3-1 buy downs. We talked about that on the show a few months ago, that those would come back. And that's where if interest rates are at 6%, your rates are at 3% for the first year, 4% for the second, 5% for the third, and then they go to 6% on the fourth year. And we're starting to see those being offered by builders to just give some relief to payments. And so yeah, we've definitely, and this has been going on for 2 months now, and it's starting to finally settle in. People are starting to feel it.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting. We've got a couple phone lines ringing too. You're always welcome to call or text us too with questions throughout the week too. 612-294-6949. If you're curious about the value of your home as well, we're happy to do a market analysis for you. We're going back live on air right now. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Thanks for joining us. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We hope your weekend is going well. And it is a unique time in our market. As Scott said in the first segment, we feel like we've been doing the show for 20 years, and every year is a unique. Is that the word I use? Unique?
It is very, every year is unique.
Hey, so Mike touched on in the first segment interest rates, kind of a historic rise this past week with the Fed increasing the rate by 0.75, which Mike has talked about. That isn't directly correlated to interest rates, but interest rates did rise this week.
Well, they went down because the Feds did that.
Yes.
The week previous to the Feds raising the Fed's funds rate, rates went up like 0.75% in a week.
Right.
The Feds came out and said, hey, we're going to bump our rate up by 0.75%. We saw mortgage interest rates drop by 1/4 that day.
Mm.
So a lot of people still think that the Feds run mortgage rates. That's not the case. What they have control of are short-term rates.
Yeah, let's we've got a couple callers before we go to our first caller. Did want to touch on just the market stats here for you, Scott and Mike. New listings are down 2% year over year. Pending sales down almost 14%. Less accepted purchase agreements. The inventory starting to mushroom. 8% growth. You like that word?
I do, mushroom.
8% growth year over year. There are 6,968 listings in the Twin Cities. And I commented lumber prices have fallen 65% from 2021's record high. So lumber prices down 65%. That could be a good news for prospective home buyers, they say, who have watched lumber prices skyrocket. That's affecting home builders, Scott, affecting everyone, but we're starting to sense it, where builders now are reaching back out to the agent population saying, hey, send your buyers through, come see us, check out our building.
That's right. And you're gonna see pricing come down, or should come down, in new construction. One, because it costs less to build a house, and so the profit margins are going to go up. And builders are starting to realize, like a lot of people are, that they're not going to be able to get the same number. That people are not flooding to go out and build a house right now because it's too expensive. So I think you're going to see those prices come down. As far as the market update goes, you should do this. You should Google Dave Ramsey. I'm going to butcher what he was saying, but I watched just a little clip that he had this week where he said everybody needs to just not panic.
Sure.
That this market is not going. We're not going to lose value in our houses. We're not going to. It's not going to shut down like it did back in 2006. And his reasoning for it was things like back in 2006, there were only I think 10,600,000 people that were buying houses. Now that number is at like 13 million. And the fact that inventory is still historically low, and people have to buy or they have to rent. Rent is still much more expensive than buying. And he went through a series of financial reasons why, right now is there kind of people are putting the brakes on because this is so new that they're just a little bit freaked out. But it's going to settle in. It's going to become the new norm, and the market's going to be fine. This is not a repeat of what we had in 2006. It's the complete opposite. And so it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't think either there's any housing bubble. I don't think there's any reason, like Scott said, for existing homeowners to be just super stressed out. You have to realize, again, we've seen this historic rise in prices. That just people's income can't keep up with historic rise in prices. So if it kind of tapers off or flattens, that's not a bad thing. And I think you're hearing from a lot of agents out there as well that they are appreciating a little bit, and their customers, most importantly, are appreciating a little bit more balance overall. And I think that is something that we have not had the last 3 years. There's been absolutely no balance at all.
No.
I mean, it's really been, it's like someone who had like 6 Red Bulls in the morning and was just so charged up for the day.
Yeah.
And then the next day comes around, you're like, well, he doesn't have the Red Bull in him. I'm like, well, it's not a bad thing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's better to not have 6 Red Bulls in you.
Well, and like Mike and I were talking before the show, if you are a VA or an FHA buyer, I mean, guys, this is your time.
Yeah.
Because you haven't been able to buy anything in the last 2 years basically, and right now there is a slowdown out there. It's still fast moving, but you can actually compete in this market now where you couldn't. Being realistic, you could not in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Last 2.5 weeks, I got 6 FHA offers accepted.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, we had one VA offer accepted where the seller is paying a portion of the buyer's closing costs.
Yeah.
Well,
we're going to see that stuff come back here.
And again, before we take the caller, just again, market update. We'll talk more after the break about this, but I know Scott has a particular listing. This one is a townhome. How many saved searches on it?
So put this one on. It's $300,000.
Okay.
There were 3 sales in the neighborhood within the last 4 months. None lasted more than 2 days. I talked to the agents. They had between 30 and 40 showings, and they went about 15 to 20 grand over. So 1,436 people have it saved as a search.
So almost 1,500 people in our MLS system, and these are all fellow agents with all the companies and brokers that have a saved search. So 1,500 people saved search.
Yep. Last time I had 1,300 saved searches. I had 126 showings in 3 days. Okay. Right now we have 1 showing set up on this property.
And what kind of property is it?
It's a townhome. It's $300,000, which is very fast moving price range. And again, it's pretty easy. It's a townhome. So the exact same homes 3 months ago were selling in 2 days for 15 to 20 grand over, and getting 30 to 40 showings, and we've got 1 set up so far. So there's definitely with that kind of saved searches, we should literally be at like 30 to 40 showings.
And again, in the same breath, I talked to Rodolfo Trujillo last night, an agent on the Minnesota real estate team who has a single family home. I think it was priced at $360,000, and he got 5 offers on it. And so again, depending upon price, location, a variety of factors, which we'll talk about. But let's go to our caller, David, thanks for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we help?
Hey, Dylan, it's David Meyer. How are you?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, to your point about the VA stuff, and just this is the importance of having a good loan officer. That VA loan Mike is talking about was on a listing I had, and we had 5 offers, so good, still good, strong market in that regard, and I had 2 of them were really, really close, so I called the lenders to talk about the buyer and just, give me something about the buyer. Obviously, they can't give us anything, too much, but in calling Mike, he just walked me through, bing, bing, bing. Here's what we got. Here's what we've done. Fully pre-underwritten, I think is the term you used, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pre-underwritten, which basically means they follow all the same steps that they do in underwriting. And so I got off the phone with him and was very confident that this was a good, solid VA buyer. I called the other loan officer. I won't mention which company, but a large national company. He didn't even remember who the person was. He was struggling to get the name. I'm like, yeah, the client's name is this, and he's going, let's see, yeah, yeah, right? And then, couldn't tell me anything. I mean, literally couldn't. He just kept saying, yeah, good, strong buyer, good, strong buyer. That's all he was able to give me. So when I told that to my seller's like, well, then let's go with the VA guy.
Yeah. No, it's a great point, Dave, and we've talked about that on the show multiple times. Knowing the agent is always a positive, and knowing the loan officer is always a positive, because if you work with Mike, it's closing. There's not going to be any issues, and when you're looking at pricing, how they're structuring it, and the fact that it's going to be ease of sale, that's what having somebody like Mike does for you.
Well, here's the kicker. The other offer was a little better.
Interesting.
So she could have netted more out of the other offer, but she was more confident with what I was able to tell her after talking to the 2 loan officers. So pretty simple, make sure that, and then when I called the other agent back and told him that, I said, hey, I mean, I'd encourage you to tell your client to find another lender, because this guy didn't do you any favors at all.
That's really good, David. Hey, David, by the way, April's top agent on the Minnesota real estate team. Nice work there, young man.
Yeah, it was actually, I think it was March.
March.
Yeah, it was a crazy March. I had 10 closings in March, and I'm still paying the price for
that. Hey, great work, buddy. We appreciate, again, David Meyer, awesome agent on the Minnesota real estate team. Thanks for calling in, man. Hope you're able to get the boat out this weekend.
Yep, sitting on the St. Croix right now. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, you too, Dave.
You too, David.
You too. Interesting. That's hard for people to understand. Offers. So they gave more money on the one offer, but David's seller didn't take it. People don't understand that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the 3 things, and the last one is ease of sale and no hassle. So when you're looking at it, yeah, you can take a little bit more money, but if you think the thing's going to blow up because the agent or the loan officer is incompetent, what have you done? You've done nothing except waste 30 days until it falls apart. So you want the money, you want the terms, and you want the ease of sale.
Yeah, we're at the halfway point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We've got some great listings too. After the break, we're going to be talking about to feature. You're welcome to join us at any point too. How has this market? How has the gas prices, inflation, everything else? How is that impacting you and your family? Don't hesitate to share with us, either commenting on social media or calling or texting us 612-294-6949. Feel free to share your thoughts too, what you think might happen in the future. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. That's a hard one for people to understand, that again, David's seller taking that one offer. But Mike, that's a good example of why you do such a great job. All the major agents and players in the Twin Cities. They know you. You can have a conversation with them, and your clients. That helps.
Mm-hmm. And like literally, it's weird because I do a lot of deals, but I pretty much remember, if you give me a name, I could pretty much remember what their credit score was,
Yeah.
what loan I did for them. Like, you tell me that, like, it's just one of those things. You spend 30 to 45 days working on this loan process with these people, it just gets ground in there.
Yeah.
So I get a call from listing agent, hey, we got an offer from so-and-so. Most of the time we don't have to look it up. It's like, oh, yep, here's their deal. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, it's good that Dave called in and said that, because I had one. I don't know if you remember this, but it was actually Jason Walgrave's listing.
Yeah.
And it was probably 3 years ago, and there were 9 offers on it, and my offer was a VA offer. And of course, when you're competing against 9 offers with a VA, it's typically a loser. But because the agent knew me, and more importantly, the agent works directly with Mike. So again, he knew that it was going to be a solid deal and there weren't going to be any issues.
Yeah.
And so they end up getting it. And that's strictly because they knew Mike was going to get it done.
Maybe we'll take this too when we go live, but I had a question that came in. Diamond from St. Paul is wondering, at what point could someone who's pre-approved for a conventional loan lock in their interest rate? At what point they're pre-approved could they lock it in, Mike?
So there's a lot of different types of lock options out there. There's lock and shop, right? So that you can actually lock before you have a accepted offer. Now you're locking like on a 90-day lock typically on that. So if you don't find a house, stuff like that, there's some cost to do that. So if you don't find a house within that time period, you might be giving up your upfront money that you put into it for that particular option. It's kind of like putting earnest money down and backing out. You might lose your earnest money if you do that. Doing this lock option to where, hey, I'm going to lock before I actually have a subject property because I want the rates today and not the rates of when I get an offer accepted. The bank is basically reserving those funds for you. So there's a cost there. The juice is running for the lender there. So they're going to have you pay some money up front in order to do that. In general terms, or most of the time, it's the day that the lender receives the purchase agreement so they can enter in all the terms, right? Here's the purchase price, here's the closing date, here's the this, there's the that. You have from the day that information gets entered into the system all the way up until 10 days before closing to lock. So that's your typical window. New construction, we see a lot of extended locks now because new construction, hey, I got a purchase agreement for a new construction house. I'm not closing for 9 months. What do I do? Do I have to wait? Do I have to wait for 9 months to lock my rate? No, you can actually do an extended rate lock now. So you look at where rates are at now, there's some adjustments that you have to make because it could go up, it could go down.
Sure.
So you make those adjustments and you can lock in, we have up to a 360-day lock. So you can lock a year out if you want to.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a good question.
It is a good question. Interesting though, to see what's happening kind of in a financing world. So do you think a lot of people are going to leave the mortgage business?
Yeah. Just like you, the mortgage business and the real estate business gets saturated at times, especially over the last couple of years, right? When a good market is there, people are flooding in, right? When the market is bad, a lot of people get out, and it's really the experienced, agents that have their roots set that will make it through this. And then there'll be obviously a bigger piece of the pie at the end for anyone who sticks it out. But
yeah, we lost half the agents in 2007, and this, I think they're talking about, somewhere in like the 30% range over the next 12 months will be out of it.
Do you remember how many loan officers we lost back in the day?
Oh, I'm sure a ton.
A lot.
We had 775,000 registered loan officers at the beginning of 2007. At the end of like 09 or something, we're down to 117,000.
Wow.
775 down to 117.
Here we go. We're going live back on air. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, every Saturday. Scott, that's the market.
That's the market.
Mike Dubs is the best. Thank you. Mike Dubs, K102. A little white snake. Did you know that was white snake, guys?
I didn't.
Yes. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. That is the Minnesota real estate market. And we've got, we welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. I just wanted just a really short message, Scott and Mike. I wanted to share for any fellow agents or brokers that may be listening to the show or watching. I had some questions this week just saying, oh my gosh, Ryan, I'm new to the business and what's going to happen? What's going to happen to me? I'm having a really good year, but what's going to happen? And so I told him, I said, well, here's what I've observed over almost 20 years. The agents who work hard, are customer service oriented, low pressure, care about their clients, are positive, upbeat, and just put in a really solid daily effort, those agents succeed in any real estate market. We saw it in the worst of the worst with short sales, bank-owned property. It's just different types of business. People are always moving. First-time home buyers, real estate investors, some sad things, death, divorce, some happy things, marriage, relocation, new jobs. Scott, there's all kinds of reasons deals keep happening.
Yeah.
And so to your point, fellow agents, don't fret. Don't just keep your head down, block out the noise, and keep focusing on your customers. Good things will happen. Deals will continue to close. Scott, we've seen it over 20 years. We've seen it with agents on the Minnesota real estate team year after year. Very good sales years. But it's easy to get freaked out.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's we've talked about it many times, Ryan and I. It's not a hard business. It's a people business, and as long as your priorities, like Ryan just laid out, are clear and consistent, you will do fine. And it is just getting out of your office, meeting people, you doing your job well, so that you get referrals. And I agree. People are always they're always moving for one reason or another.
Right.
And so, are there better markets than others? Sure. But can you still make a living? Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And Mike was just talking during the break about back in the downturn, so many people left the mortgage business. We think a lot of people will leave probably both real estate, mortgage, real estate related industries, with the market not being having 6 Red Bulls in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually had an interesting conversation with a buyer that's going to be moving here to Minneapolis in the next couple months. She right now, her job is she imports and exports goods back and forth from China. And she said with the global kind of inflation and things going on right now, she's like, I'm making a move to be within my same company, but work domestically here, because I think the overseas thing, there's going to be jobs going away. There's going to be changes on there that I see coming up here. And it kind of like opened my eyes a little bit to be like, I mean, I can see that happening, and she's kind of just forecasting a little bit here to say, I think it's more stable if I can basically work with companies and stuff within the U.S. versus going overseas. So I thought that was an interesting comment. And so, interesting times here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a question that came in on this one again. Chuck just said, why do you think this time is different than 2008? What are the specific reasons? People have equity in their homes, first of all.
So they're not just going to walk away. There's actual appraisals done. So there was appraisals done on the property independent of the loan officer. The Twin Cities has a solid job market with so many Fortune 500 companies, people that move here. So demand stays strong. Inventory is low. What else, guys? What else am I forgetting? You actually have to qualify.
You actually have to qualify.
You actually have to have money to buy a house. You got to remember the biggest thing that happened back then. I remember in 2005 and 2004, the amount of sales that I did that actually had a down payment was like 5%. Everybody was doing 80% first, 20% seconds. And they had no money in the game, and they were buying the most expensive home they could because everything was appreciating at 15%.
Yeah.
And so the mindset was, well, if I can buy $1 million house, I'm going to make $300,000 in 2 years. Well, that makes sense until it goes backwards. But the biggest reason and the biggest difference is we have a shortage in inventory right now.
Yeah.
We had 35,000 homes on the market in the first beginning of 06 compared to 6,900 right now.
Yeah.
That's what created the fall.
Mike, anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff was on the lending things. I mean, you didn't have to prove, you just did a stated income loan.
Yeah.
So it's like someone comes to us like, hey, you got the credit score needed. We'll just do a stated income loan because then you don't have to send us all that pesky documentation. Right. And so then you'd be getting people who are retired on Social Security. So it's a very fixed number. Right. And so it's like, oh, yeah, they're retired. They're making $200,000 a year on Social Security.
Do you remember
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember negative AM loans?
Yes.
So people would take out a loan and it negatively amortized. In other words, it grew.
Yeah,
So
you had
people-
options. You had three options. You could pay this number, you could pay this number, or you could pay less than the payment actually was. And the reason banks were doing because everything was appreciating at 15%.
Right.
Yeah, the old option arm.
That's frothy.
Yes.
Is that the right word?
Yes,
Frothy?
Yeah, I mean, it might, for people listening, they might be like, that can't be true. There were housewives that did not have a job,
Yeah.
but they had a beacon score of 780, and they could just go in and they bought 5 rental properties,
Right.
because they just said, well, how much do I have to make? Well, you have to make $600,000. Okay, I make $600,000. Okay, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, I saw a comedian that said, I knew the housing market was going to crash when I could get a loan.
Hey, we do have a featured listing. Steve Johnson with the Minnesota real estate team, Remax Advantage Plus. He has a new listing that just went live. He's got an open house today, Saturday, 11 to 1, and Sunday, tomorrow, 1 to 3 p.m. Scott, this is in your old neck of the woods, 16792 Falkirk Trail. It's in Lakeville. It's listed for $700,000. It's a 5-bed, 5-bath. It's got 4,450 square feet. And Steve describes it, says the main level includes a private office, formal dining, living room, large kitchen, gourmet kitchen, includes granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, double ovens, all the updates, 9-foot ceilings. It's got a spacious master suite, including a soaking tub, double vanity shower, a ton of great updates. Entertaining continues outside with a large maintenance-free deck, stamped concrete patio, and it is in the coveted 196 school district. Check the pictures out online. That is, wow, a very nice looking home. 16792 Falkirk Trail in Lakeville. Steve's out there today, actually 11 to 1. Do you know that area?
I do. Very nice area. And that's a super looking house.
Yeah, super looking house. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at any point with the market. Is there a bubble? Is there a collapse? I have to share. I did read an interesting article the other night. The governor of Alaska was commenting, and he was talking about gas prices and how he's really trying to encourage the current administration to allow for more drilling. It sounds like he's very environmentally focused. You could tell he seemed like a really good guy in his answers and what he was describing, but he was talking about opening things up to become energy independent and to lower the prices for all of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should be. I don't think. I mean, for the life of me, I don't understand why we're not. And I think that this is going to be a short-lived administration, and I think we'll be back to that in 2024.
Here's another interesting conversation I had. So I'm doing a loan right now for a U.S. citizen who teaches high school English in Qatar. And so he's over there teaching during the school year. He's back here during, the winter break and then in the summertime. So he's looking to buy a house here before he gets to go back to school. And we were talking the other day about, what he qualifies for and this and that. And he's like, it's a little crazy over here right now because what you guys pay for gas here now. And he says, you guys, even though he's a citizen,
Yeah.
right? He lives over there the majority of the year. He's like, what you guys pay for gas here is about 4 times as expensive of what gas is over there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's like, because I had to ask him, I'm like, well, do you have any living expenses over there? Because underwriting is going to look, if you're over there, do you have living expenses over there that we got to take into consideration for your monthly, payments going out and stuff? He's like, no, they cover all that. He's like, and it's so cheap to live over there. And we got onto the gas because gas is literally 4 times less, cheaper than it is here. So I don't know. And I saw a blip on there that they have the production, like there's the oil is there.
Oh gosh.
It's there. We just got to use it.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting times. We're at the final break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. 612-294-6949. Thanks for so many folks watching the show here the entire time. Every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. We podcast this as well. But guys, what do we think moving forward? What do you guys think?
I think we're going to see a a slowdown for the next couple months. I think that it came on so quickly. The increase in interest rates. Everybody's starting to feel this inflation thing, hit their pocketbook, and so I think that there's just naturally, just a little bit of a pushback. Because even if it's just 35% of the buying group that just all of a sudden says, I'm just not feeling comfortable. That's going to have this kind of effect. But I think it's going to settle in. I think it's going to become the new norm. I think we're going to see a flattening of pricing, especially in the 600 to $1 million-ish range. I think we're going to see that flatten out. I think we're going to see a slowdown in appreciation for things under 500 grand. I think they're still going to go up because of demand, but I think we're going to see, instead of 12, 15%, probably going to see 1, 2, 3%.
Yeah, Mike.
Same. I think if you're an FHA or VA buyer, you got to take the opportunity
right now.
If you wait, right? So if you wait until prices come down or rates come down, whatever that waiting period is, if you wait for that to happen, well, guess what? How many more other people are waiting for that to happen? And now you're just throwing yourself back in the same boxing ring you were in for the last 2 years.
That's right.
So I think the two ways you win in this market right now is FHA and VA buyers, get in the market, get your house bought. You're going to find that you're going to have much more success now. Jumbo buyers right now. So if you got a loan amount that's over 647,200, those rates are almost a full % lower. You win in that market too by buying up there in that range.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I agree. I think that if you look at it, if you're an FHA or VA buyer, because I do think when they actually call this a recession, so let's call it in the next 12 months, that interest rates are going to come back down. So look at it as you maybe have a little haircut where, for 12 months, you have to pay a little bit more money, but you've got a house that is going to be appreciating because it's going to be in that entry point. And then you can refinance when rates drop back down. But like Mike said, don't wait for rates to drop into the 4s. And we still have inventory that's extremely low because you can't compete.
Yeah. We're going back live on air here. This is Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Actually, not yet. Sorry, not yet. Thought we were going back live. We've got a few phone lines as well. We'll go to those questions here too throughout the week. Again, if you're thinking of something, questions, comments, thoughts, please don't hesitate to ever reach out. You can always click on Ask the Big Brains on mnrealestateshow.com. That comes directly to all three of us, and we're happy to answer, whether it's finance related, real estate related, whatever that might be. Please don't hesitate to use that. Now we are going back live on air. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Hey, Scott, Mike did want to feature Ashley and Jared Hineker, awesome agents on the Minnesota real estate team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. They have a new listing. It's 45 acres, and it's priced at $980,000. It's a 45-acre parcel priced for $980,000. It's in Prescott, Wisconsin. And they say, come and see this beautiful 45-acre parcel inside the city limits of Prescott. This is one of the last available sites in Prescott, and it can be developed. Bring your build to Prescott zoned mixed residential and agricultural. It's a beautiful wooded property. It brings park-like features with open grasslands, trails throughout, 2 access points, endless opportunities for making this property your own development, they say. It's got a private oasis, your future home inside city limits, surrounded by nature. They said hunting is even allowed. Archery hunting is allowed on this property inside city limits due to the size. It does have whitetails and multiple other game species. It's a hunter's dream located just 2 miles from where the St. Croix and Mississippi River meet. Please come check this out. Again, this is a 45-acre parcel inside the city limits, and it is $980,000. It's at the corner of Dexter and Walnut Street in Prescott, Wisconsin. We've got a few phone lines ringing. We appreciate your patience as we get through the phone callers here. We're going to go first to Irv. Irv, thank you for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and how can we help?
I have a question. I'm closing on the 24th on a property.
Okay.
I have an existing house, and I'm thinking about waiting a month or 2 to move everything out and then sell it. Do you think I should snap up that timeline before everything falls apart with interest rates, etc.?
Irv, what roughly what price range do you think your home is in?
525.
Frankly, I think you'll be fine either way. That is still a very, very fast moving price range. The price range that's getting hit the worst with this kind of increase in rates and inflation, everything we've been talking about, is really that 600 to a million range. If you're around that 500,000 mark, it's still a pretty fast moving price range. What city are you in? Oh, sure. Yeah, that's my neck of the woods. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Part of it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say too, to Scott's point that he's talked about a lot of, is part of it is just pricing, just being sure that it's priced accurately, and we're seeing a lot of sellers overprice. And so what you're hearing a lot of with some of the negative is overpricing from the froth, from the Red Bull that's causing people to want more money, Scott.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, I listed one in Farmington a couple months ago for 450,000. We had 126 showings on it in 3 days, and it went 75,000 over. Now in today's market, we probably get 30 to 40 showings, and we probably would maybe only get 5 to 10 offers on it, where we had 38 offers on it. So it's still fast moving. So the bottom line is whatever's best for your family. It's not gonna change much whether it's right now or if it's a couple months from now. Yeah, and if you need any help selling it, that's where I do it.
Yeah, hope you have a good weekend. Good weekend ahead. Thanks for listening to the show, Herb. We appreciate that. Yeah, no, thanks for calling in. Hey, by the way, before we forget, looking at you two, happy Father's Day there, young men.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan.
Nice work, fathers.
Yes, exactly. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna play a little golf tomorrow and then have a little family dinner. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
To one of Scott's clients that actually thinks that Scott's my dad. So I should be saying Happy Father's Day, Dad.
It wasn't a client. It was a woman on Match.com.
Oh, that's who it was. Okay.
She really liked, I think she was kind of funny. They really liked seeing the visuals of Scott and Mike. There was no commentary of Ryan, of course, the Irishman, but said, "Wow, I really like the." How did she phrase it?
She said, "You're very handsome. So's your son." and that was Overson.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to go to our friend Dan. Dan, thanks for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we help?
So if you were to have price breaks of various home prices, which ones would seem to be the lowest prices would be still going up perhaps? Is that true that prices of homes in the $100,000, 200 are still maybe climbing a little bit, whereas the $1 million homes are probably going down a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've talked about the average appreciation over the last couple of years. They say is about 12%, but really homes in, for example, in the 300 range or 400 range, they probably were appreciating more at like 15 to 18%, and the homes in the 600 to $1 million plus range were probably only appreciating at a couple percent. So most of the appreciation was fronted on that entry point. And because there's still extremely limited inventory, that entry point, and it depends on what city, for example, in Edina, an entry point might be 600 grand. Eden Prairie might be 600 grand. Lakeville, it might be 350. Anything at that entry point is still going to be appreciating very well. I do.
In the short term. Okay.
Yeah, I do. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, rents are hard. I mean, it's going to be with the rise in rates again. It's just going to be kind of a should we buy or should we rent type of situation. So, I mean, I think obviously they can't keep climbing from an affordability standpoint, but I think they are sort of historically high right now, Mike. And so I think even if they stabilize, that would probably be a good thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Yes. Yeah. See you later. Hey, before we wrap up here, again, 612-294-6949 throughout the week, I did want to hit on one other listing, Scott and Mike. This one is up in Rogers. Perry Nelson with the Minnesota real estate team, Remax Advantage Plus. He's got a nice one that they have reduced the price on this. It's listed for $599,000. It's 6 acres. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, got a heated garage. It is 20715 147th Avenue in Rogers. It does have a large outbuilding with heating sources, water nearby. And it used to be used before the prior owners as a horse stable. Since then, it's been used for, quote, toys and storage, unquote. Again, 6-acre property. It's got that up north feeling. It is in the city of Rogers. Terrific condition. 4-bed. 4-bed. There's a studio room with an egress window. It's got a brick surround and chimney in the family room that could be set up with a wood burner fireplace. 2.5 stall garage, Scott. It's heated, has a floor drain, a beautiful patio, large deck. Again, check this out. It's got a large garden. It's within walking distance to the middle or high school of Rogers, and it's within a mile of Target, Cub, and downtown. 6-acre 4-bed, 2-bath property. Check this out. That huge outbuilding, 20715 147th Avenue. People like space.
They do. They love outbuildings too.
Especially within city limits.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Both those, that Ashley listing and this one by Perry, acreage within a city. That's nice.
Well, I was trying to picture 45 acres in the middle of Prescott.
That's it. That's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
A lot of acreage, Mike.
That is. What do you do with all that land?
Well,
you hunt whitetail and whatever other critters are
Right.
on the property.
hey, we've got a couple minutes left. What do we think, guys? Moving forward, as the White Snake song said, we know where we've been, or do we know where we're going? Well, where are things at, guys?
Here's something to think about. If you're a buyer out there, I ran numbers on a $650,000 purchase price versus a $775,000. And the reason why I did that is because one's going to give you a conventional rate and one's going to give you the jumbo rate. Guess what the monthly payment difference was between the $650,000 house and the $775,000 house? Both with 15% down.
$160.
Ryan, you want to take a guess?
$200.
It was $133.
Wow.
And that's because the interest rate is that much lower on jumbo. So if you're a buyer looking to $650,000, I would say bump that up to $750,000. Look up there. Literally, you can get $100,000 more for only $133,000 a month because your interest rate is lower. Something to think about if you're in that price range.
Yeah, and if you're in that price range, that's one of the price range that's getting hit the hardest. So there's some good deals out there, in that 7, 8, 9 range. And what I think is going to happen, like I said throughout the show, I think we're going to see a little bit of a pause in the market, which we're in right now. I think that's going to rebound back as people get used to the new norm.
Great job, guys.
You too.
Great
You too,
job.
Ryan.
Thank you to Mike Dubbs as well. Happy Father's Day to all friends, family. My brother Dan, my brother Tom, my brother Tim, brother-in-law Bill. I could go on. Big O'Neill
fan.
Hey, did want to give a nice shout out to our buddy, Mr. Rob Reinke, awesome agent as well, who sent us a great text this morning listening to the show. Rob does a wonderful job. Appreciate you, as always, Rob, tuning in. And again, thanks to everyone else tuning into the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And again, we'll be back next week. Don't panic. The sky is not falling. And we are here to help you with your questions, comments, thoughts throughout the week. 612-294-6949. We appreciate you listening to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Have a great weekend ahead. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday for all your questions, comments, thoughts. Nice job, guys.
You too. Thanks, everybody.
All right. We'll see everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and happy Father's Day. Take care. Bye-bye.